have wept and I have fallen. Don't you worry about me, 'cause I stood up, yes I have grown. The pain has set me free. And like a broken record in my head.
Welcome back to Conscious Fever, hosted by
I get enough of you. Bright sneakers on, getting ready for a flashback. Time keeps moving on, looking at you feeling like I could never get enough of you. And I could never get enough of you. I could never get enough of you.
I don't want them, no, get them all off me. Say that for hell, she'll cause a scene. 4 cars deep, we'll come through on a late night. Chicken spot, wings and fries, we call that a day night. Lights on, so out, I don't have no stage fright. Knew that I was built for this forever, ever, ever.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price.
We ride bands, 10 times 10, all my friends. This for
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. It's rated ice time, so listen responsibly.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price.
Hey, good evening. Welcome to Conscious Fever here on Ice Entertainment Television and Conscious Fever Radio. I am Carl Price, your host. I thought I would just come over. I'm looking at the right camera. Okay. Thought I would just come over so we all could just see what's going on out in the city. It is cold out there tonight. We're going to talk about this crazy subject tonight because everybody's been talking about it since Sunday night. And I thought I would just bring 2 of my closest friends together. Just happen to be lawyers. One's a judge, and just engage the rest of the world about Will and Chris. Will and Chris, they sound like a couple, and they are now a couple in the news. So there's been so many opinions about this, and we're going to talk about it tonight. Who's right? Who's wrong? Was Will justified? Is Chris Rock really a victim, or did he deserve it? There's some interesting discussions and comments tonight. I'm Carl Price. This is Conscious Fever here on Ice Entertainment Television and Conscious Fever Radio. Thanks for joining me tonight. And of course, welcome to the broadcast. Our title tonight is Will Smith's Violence Towards Chris Rock, Justified or Just Plain Violence? I don't know. My guests tonight are going to weigh in on that, and I'm going to show you who my guests are tonight just real quick. It is Attorney Paul Mullins and Judge Denise Brown. I will come back to them as we're going to talk about this topic tonight, Will Smith's violence towards Chris Rock, because many would say that it was in fact violence. Is it justified? Or are we just really talking about a man who got caught up in his emotions and just had a moment? And if he had a moment, if he had that little bit of that split second of a mental illness, i.e., some type of breakdown, then why are we calling him a host beater or a presenter beater? I don't know. But my guests are going to talk about that tonight. Before we get too far into this broadcast, I do want to, of course, remind you all, just like it's right there, that I am a candidate for the office of the Jefferson County Attorney. And of course, this ad has been paid for by Carl Price for County Attorney. Okay, I have to say that just to make sure that I deal with all the legalese. And this is really not an ad. I'm just telling y'all basically, I'm running for this office, and I want y'all to keep that in mind. May 17th is the day that we actually vote. But I did want to talk about just a couple of things real quick before I get to my guests. If you want to know more about me and more about my campaign, I want you to just go to my website. You can see my website there, Carl Price for County Attorney, and talk about my mission. And I want to just share those 6 missions with you real quick tonight, really quick, to integrate mental health professional community with the criminal justice system, so we can catch mental illness early during one's criminal experience, retain experienced prosecutors to hold violators accountable in the most maximum way. This will be the first step in reducing the crime rate in Louisville, and y'all know that the crime rate is off the chart in Louisville. Reduce the time from petition to admission from those loved ones who are filing Casey Law petitions. I don't know if y'all know that, but there's a serious problem there. And of course, negotiate a contract with the FOP that is most fair to both the police community as well as the citizens of Louisville. Create policies that allow compassionate prosecutors to deal with excessive force cases as well as other civil cases, and create better policies for child support and family court prosecutors to focus on really keeping families together, because there's this little saying in family court that we're here for the best interest of the child, and then you turn around, you look up, and what are they doing? They are taking the child. And so I just wanted to make sure that we get that out. Of course, on my website, you can also see where there is an opportunity to actually volunteer. If you want to do that, please go to my website, carlpriceforcountyattorney.com. Volunteer with us. Fill out your name, your email, your phone number, and just tell us what is most convenient for you to actually volunteer. We would greatly appreciate that. And of course, the most important part of my webpage is, of course, drum roll, the donation page. Don't be shy about it. Don't be shy to give anything away. I almost said something, but since I'm a candidate, I can't say it anymore. But anyway, you can support my campaign. And again, I'm going to read this for you all. Thank you for considering donating to my campaign for county attorney. I am excited to take the first step to aggressively fight crime in the city. Fighting crime is nothing new to me, as I have spent 25 years as a prosecutor holding those who victimize others accountable. Your support and others you encourage to support in the form of a donation will help me accomplish my goal of making our city, SAFE in all caps, again. And of course, thank you for supporting the campaign. So I want y'all to just kind of keep that in mind. I mean, I really appreciate your support. But listen, I'm going to dive right into the meat and potatoes of this thing tonight. I'm going to bring my guest in, and we're going to talk about this thing. But remember, if you don't remember anything else tonight, remember that as a prosecutor, I have 25 years of experience. I am the most qualified and the most experienced that is running for this office now. So in any case,
Violent 24 hours in the city.
Last night's triple shooting.
Shot several times.
With every shooting.
I was not supposed to do that, but in any case, we're going to take a quick break. On the other side of my break, we're going to talk about whether Will Smith was justified or whether he's just a criminal So when I become county attorney, I'll be prosecuting people just like him. All right, this is Carl Price. It's Conscious Fever here on Ice Entertainment Television, Conscious Fever Radio. We'll be right back with my guests.
Violent 24 hours in the city.
Last night's triple shooting.
Shot several times.
With every shooting in Louisville, shooting near a Louisville high school, a family is changed
LAPD
forever.
officers responded to a shooting not far from Western High School around 11:30. There they found a teenage boy dead from a gunshot wound.
This ad was paid for by the committee to elect Carl Price, County. Hey, welcome back to Conscious Fever here on Ice Entertainment Television and Conscious Fever Radio. I am Carl Price, your host. Listen, the topic tonight is Will Smith and Chris Rock. You know, was Will Smith justified? Let me see if I can show you guys this again. Was Will Smith's violence towards Chris Rock justified or just plain violence? Just plain violence. I've got two guests here with me tonight, Judge Denise Brown and Attorney Paul Mullins, and we're going to talk about that, and we're going to take your comments as well, because I want to know your opinion about this. I was shocked to know that literally this is just like the 2020 presidential election, right? People are really split right down the middle with this. Some find it completely unbelievable that anybody would think that Will is justified, and some find it so unbelievable that those people who don't believe that Will is justified don't believe that Will is justified. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to kind of gather into this. But I know you've probably seen it over and over and over again, because today, with today's technology, if you want to see something, just really want to run it into the ground, you can do it in toto or in tandem. I'm not sure what the correct phrase is, but in any case, but how many other times you want to watch it, you can watch it. You've probably already done that, but we're going to show it to you so we can basically prep up the show, right? So, of course, this is the big, what we call the big slap. Check this out.
But now, let's please welcome Chris Rock.
Yes. Wow, what a night. Everybody, no one's wearing a mask. Just breathing raw dog tonight. Wow. Denzel, Macbeth, loved it. I love the part where it said, King Lear don't got nothing on me. Y'all got to see it. It's really good. You know who's got the hardest job tonight? Javier Bardem and his wife are both nominated. Now, if she loses, he can't win. He is praying that Will Smith wins. Like, please, Lord. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Uh-oh, Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay. Okay. So we are here to give a documentary out, to give an Oscar out for Best Documentary. Now, the beauty of documentaries, because they make you, when you watch one, you feel smart. Like you watched like you read a book or something. But all you really did was get high and watch Netflix. So here we go. Here we go. The documentaries, the nominees are, let's just go to the nominees.
Okay, welcome back to Conscious Fever here on Ice Entertainment Television, Conscious Fever Radio. My guest tonight, Judge Denise Brown, Attorney Paul Mullins. Listen, I wanted to make sure that they played that clip all the way through till he got to the point of trying to stay normal, because I think that was the toughest part to watch. It's like, man, you just got punked, and it's on national TV. The world has seen it, and you really don't know what to do. You're still in shock. But of course, many say that he took the high road and did what he did. Before y'all comment, I want to show y'all something, because I noticed this, and then I'm going to come back and let you guys comment. Check this out. This is apparently the faces at the time he slapped him, from a lot of the celebrities in the audience. I just thought that was interesting that they did that. Anyway, Judge Brown, Attorney Mullins, what y'all think? Is this man, talk to me. What do you think? Will Smith's violence towards Chris Rock, justified?
Ladies first.
Just plain violence.
Judge Brown?
Oh.
I'll let you start.
Well,
I know what I've talked to Carl.
Okay. All right. I would say it was just plain violence. I mean, I think we can keep it simple. He's a guest at someone's house. He's offended by another guest. You don't attack the guest in somebody else's house. They asked him to leave. After that, he refused to leave. I just think it's really simple. I just think it was violence. He was a man out of control.
Did they in fact ask him to leave? That's what
they did.
I mean, that's what I read. Yeah.
So
my take on it,
statement saying that they asked him to leave and he refused to do so. And by the way, that picture that you showed, that's not from that night. That's from from when they misnamed the winner of the best movie category a few years ago.
Right, a few years ago. Okay, well, it's on the internet. I don't know why I pulled something. Actually, it was on Twitter. Kind of sort of pulled something off Twitter. But Mr. Mullins, your thoughts?
Yes. Well, I mean, I talked to you about it. I said I was torn because I thought he was defending his wife's honor, which is 100 years old, when people used to take off their gloves and slap people. But at the end of the day, Judge Brown's right. I mean, the only reason why Will Smith isn't in jail is, number one, he's a celebrity. Number two, because Chris Rock didn't do anything. But you or I walk up on a stage at anybody's concert, even if it's not a celebrity, and we do that, we get locked up, not that night, but immediately. And the only reason why he didn't is because he was Will Smith and Chris Rock played it off so well. But a lot of people on the internet, there's a meme that this was fake or staged. I don't personally believe that, based off the reaction from Chris Rock afterwards. It didn't appear to be staged. He was clearly thrown off his game after he was slapped, as anyone would be when they're thinking to themselves, do I respond professionally or do I fight back? What do I do? We can say he got punked, but actually, if Chris Rock had responded like another man would when attacked, it would be a brawl on stage, and that would have been 100 times worse than what we saw. So you got to give your hats off to Chris for holding it together and not even responding with words, because it still could have got ugly.
Interesting. I got that message, by the way. So I'll choose my words wisely next time. But I have to say to y'all that it's one thing to watch only the slap, and then it's something totally different to continue to watch it after the slap. I mean, I felt embarrassed for Chris Rock, even though y'all know that I took a different approach than what you all are taking. I understand the argument about the high road and all of that, but my angle was I was concerned that Will Smith became so entrenched in his emotions that he lost his mind.
He was just upset, as anybody gets upset when words are thrown at him, but he's a celebrity. He should be used to people making jokes about him. I know that wasn't the first joke that he heard about him and his family, given all of the entanglements they have been in, as we know. And that's something they put themselves out there for with the red table talk or whatever it's called. But I did look, I'm gonna be the evil person in me. I thought it was funny. I laughed when I saw it. I laugh every time I see it. I laugh today. Don't make it right. It was still funny though. It made me think of what Chris Rock said in his comedy show when he said, "There's a reason to shake a woman. There's a reason to kick an old man down the steps. You just don't do it." That was his comedy routine. He said there's a reason to do stuff. You just don't do it. And it reminded me of him saying that. Do you remember that comedy routine when he said that a long time ago?
I'm not sure if I remember that comedy routine, but I
think there's a difference between a routine and what happened. Mm-hmm. Okay, and what he stepped up on that stage, it was no longer about comedy. He stepped up there to do something that was inappropriate. He had a lot of time to think about what he was going to do. It wasn't like he was just across the table from him. He walked a good way before he, struck him. And then when he walked back and sat down in his seat, he was still angry. And I don't see any justification for it. I don't see any justification for it because it wasn't a joke about her medical condition. He said it right then. He said it was a G.I. Jane joke. That's what he said. Right after he's going back to the seat talking about keep my wife's name out of your mouth.
Right, but that's why it's so important to communicate, right?
It was a movie about empowerment. And she has been, there's all kinds of clips of her on the internet where she's talking about how she doesn't care what anybody says about her bald head. And actually, women shaving their hair now, whether they have alopecia or not, is something that's in. It's not anything that people are concerned about anymore. If they decide they want to have a shaved head, then they shave their head. So I just think there's way more going on between the Smiths.
Right, because Will laughed initially. He laughed. Yeah. He thought it was funny, just like everybody else thought it was funny. And then he looked over at Jada, and Jada was like, "Oh no, you better get him." She sent the attack dog. He didn't even act on his own intuition. I believe. I don't really know. I wasn't there, but it seemed natural. You look at her facial expression. You look at his. He's laughing. He then had to glance over at her and say, "Oh, I got to protect my wife because she's mad.
Yep,
she's gonna give it to me later on."
That's even worse because that means he really just wasn't doing it because he thought it was something he should do.
Right.
He was almost manipulated into doing it, which, gets you all other kinds of mental health stuff.
Do y'all think Will should forfeit his Oscar?
I don't think he should. Just me.
Why not?
I don't think he should. He won the Oscar for his performance. He shouldn't lose the Oscar because of his performance at the Oscars. I think the merit for the Oscars was decided before that night. So he should keep his Oscars. They may not give it to him again, but he won it that night. He's been in the business for as long as I've been watching TV. He's got blockbuster movies that he didn't win Oscars for. He's got movies where he showed his talent, such as Ali. I didn't see his latest movie that he won the Oscar for, but he won an award. He messed up his own night, not Chris Rock.
Yeah, and he didn't just mess up his night. He messed up everybody's night. Yeah. Everybody's night was affected by that. And I've listened to a few people talk about how they felt when they watched it. And it really was a sickening thing to see.
Yeah.
So I never once laughed about it or thought it was funny because, as a family court judge, I hear people every day talking about how they were disrespected, and that made them choke somebody, or that made them, punch this person in the eye, or shoot them or stab them. So, I think we got to meet. It was just violence, and I think we have to address it as such. And it was such an open display that if the Academy decides that he ought to lose his Oscar, then I think he ought to. I'm not calling for it, but I think if they make that decision, I'm not going to be mad at him, because he made the decision to step up on that stage in front of the world and assault an individual. Assaulted an individual. There's no defense for that.
Yeah, Judge Brown. The only reason why I said I thought it was funny is because realistically, I didn't see anyone or perceive anyone to have been hurt. So I'm not saying that I condone violence, but I can't help for laughing when I.
What about Chris Rock? You don't think he was hurt? You don't think it would hurt you if a man walked up to you and hit you with the full weight of his hand, not his fist, right? Because he probably knew he was going to get into some fisticuffs if he hit that man with his fist. But he slaps him. That would hurt. Okay? That would hurt. And I'm talking physically. Physically, it would hurt. And I'm sure his pride was hurt. Now, I'm sure you're not alone in thinking that it was funny. But I'm just saying, when I was watching it, I never once thought it was funny. I just kept saying to myself, was that real? Is this staged? Did that really happen? And when he went back and they had cut the sound, then I knew that it was real and it had happened in real time. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that he would lose control of himself. A man of his means.
Here's a painting for sale.
To the extent that he would strike another man because he was offended.
And Judge, I think that might be the big difference between you and I, is because I didn't see it live. And so I already had the benefit of knowing what I was going to see before I saw it. And that's probably why I thought it was funny. And that if that offends anybody out there, I'm just being honest. I saw it on YouTube as a meme. So it was already funny to me. I didn't see it live.
Oh yeah, no, they'll be memes forever. So I mean, I'm not trying to judge the fact that you thought it was funny. I'm just saying that when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is some serious stuff. And I just, thought about how we just really don't respect the dignity of other people. And, that's just something that people kind of pick and choose when they want to respect your person. And people believe that they have the right to do whatever they want to do. And like, the name of the movie was King Richard, right? And you gonna come to the guest house, beat up their guest, and the guest asks you to leave, and you gonna say no. Sounds like a king to me.
Well, maybe he got really into his role.
Indulged in a
and that's entirely possible, right? I mean, I'm just joking. But listen, I want y'all to comment. First of all, let me just tell you all about some of the comments that I'm seeing. Is it significant that he laughed at the joke?
Yes, because that shows, to me, it shows that he thought it was just as funny as everybody else until his wife didn't think it was funny. So then his pride's hurt. His pride wasn't hurt if his wife wasn't in the room. His pride wouldn't have been hurt. Chris wouldn't have got slapped. Right. And to me, that's not being a man. That's somebody making you like a puppet. That was
really being
and Paul, yeah, and Paul, to that point, Greg Freeman, our friend down in Knoxville, says a young rapper allegedly slept with his wife, and Chris is who he slapped.
People are saying that.
That's your point.
Tons of memes about that. His name is August.
It would take a lot for you to just walk up to anybody and just slap them because you were offended. I mean, you think of the number of times you get offended in a day, but just the small things that people do that may seem offensive to you. You ain't gonna be walking around smacking people,
slapping everybody.
But listen, check this out. And I think I've had this conversation with one or both of you. There is this thing called the N-word. Right. And if it is said by a certain group of people in this country to another group of people in this country, basically black folks, what we saw happen on the Oscar stage is likely
Source Awards.
Right. Source Awards. No, it's likely to happen if some white person calls a black person the N-word. Right. And some have justified reacting that way because emotionally they get so stirred up with it, they lose all the ability to reason through what they're about to do. And then it happens.
Yeah.
And why can't that apply to Will Smith in this case?
Because Will needs to grow up.
And it's not the
He's
same.
a grown man.
Okay,
And
other
he
than
needs to
growing, right? Other than growing up.
No, that's serious. Growing up, he's
didn't
not
have an
living.
emotional-
We're not living in his world. He living in ours. So you
He didn't
can't
have
act like you own everything and you can do what you want to
Right.
do.
So if it was not Chris Rock but The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, would he have walked up and slapped Dwayne Johnson? Probably not.
Nope.
Yeah, but we've had that conversation, and I think that's different. I think that's different.
It's
But
not.
listen,
It's
let me.
not
Here's
without
another
a
I don't
comment.
think
Will-
I don't think he hit Chris. I don't think him hitting Chris had anything to do with Chris's size. I think that as your commenter said, I think it was misplaced aggression.
Right.
For all the stuff that he's been embarrassed about, and maybe they came to some kind of agreement as a couple that this is how we're gonna operate going forward. And he got his first test. Here's somebody offended his wife. What am I going to do? How am I going to defend her honor? And I can get to the point where he wants to defend his honor, but by striking another person as being the only option he thought was appropriate, you still run into the same problem.
Right, but it's what say we of a man who sits by and watches his wife being
Get offended.
insulted and does nothing?
We say that
What
his
say
wife
we about
is-
that man?
Nothing.
Right. Because
You said nothing, right?
No.
I'm serious. We say nothing about him. I mean, if my husband is present and he wants to make a statement to somebody who maybe has offended me in some way and he feels like he needs to do that, then of course, as the spouse, I'm going to allow him to do it. But if he's like getting ready to fight somebody,
right? I
over
call her
something
Lady
minor
Mc-
like that, I don't want my husband to take a risk that something's going to happen to him because some idiot has a gun or something or some other consequence, or he's going to get arrested.
Right,
Well, let me jump in real quick, Carl. I think that she's Lady Mc.
If somebody
I'm sorry, Denise.
attacking me is different. If somebody's attacking me, putting their hands on me, and he has to engage, that's one thing. But I just feel like I wouldn't want to put my husband in that position to fight about an offensive conversation. Or
And at the end of the day, she's no different from a Lady Macbeth. Okay, if you read your Shakespeare, she was the person who always goaded Macbeth into doing every bad thing that people would perceive him to do. Kill people, all that stuff. I mean, why? It's not even necessary because at the end of the day, the way Chris should have handled that, he did it right. He can tell his joke, even if his joke wasn't scripted, even if it wasn't approved by them. He can tell his joke, but at the end of the day, if now comedians have to go on stage and worry about, do we need to carry a pistol in the back of my pocket because somebody's going to charge me on stage for telling a regular joke? I mean, is that what we're advocating? But what Will Smith should have done was after the show or go behind stage and just talk to him and say, hey, what you did wasn't appropriate. I'd appreciate it if you apologize to my wife publicly.
Yeah,
that's what they do normally. They ask for public apologies.
I still have to emphasize that. Well, let me ask this question. Both of you all have been married or is married. And my question to you is, can you recite the vows that you took?
Some of them. I'd rather
Can
not.
you recite when you respond everything that was said before you responded, I do?
Not everything.
Close to it?
I remember the words.
Through sickness and health.
Yeah, love,
death
honor,
through,
cherish.
yeah, love. To death do us part.
Right. I know where you're going with this, Carl.
Which means I'll slap another
About to
man
say-
if he offends
Right.
you.
That wasn't in there. That's not in there.
That was
That's
not
not
in there.
That's not in
not
there.
in the vow.
But,
It's
but-
also
but-
not a defense in the criminal statute. See,
right. But listen, hold on. Let me because some of these comments are getting away from me. Will is emotionally hurt. He's living with a woman that has sex with their son's friend. What man will stay with a woman after that? Will is dealing with some deep pain. Agree or not? Agree or disagree?
I agree.
I don't
agree.
care.
I
Interesting.
mean,
I don't
everyone
care.
says that that's not who he is by his character, and it was surprising for us to see that. Now, we don't know his character because we don't interact with him. We don't know what his character
Right.
really is. We know what he shows us. But I would think I just think it was way over the top response for a joke that he was offended by. Because I
Right, Judge.
don't think I wouldn't have been upset if he just continued to yell from the audience, right? Because that's kind of equal to what was going on, right? You offended me with your words. I'm going to offend you with my words. He took it way to a whole different level.
But Judge, how can we? How? I mean, well, first and foremost, isn't it a thin line somewhere between his reaction being characterized as purely intentional and just impulsive? And I say impulsive because sometimes
both.
impulsive behavior arguably could be excusable. So I
Not
mean,
what
isn't
I
there
saw.
a thin line? I mean, you get all worked up emotionally because somebody has offended you, and we know in the
Wait a
law
minute, how
that
did he
words
get-
are
he
not
didn't have
provocation.
Get worked up. He ain't had time to get worked up.
Right.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, but we don't know his
But Chris
journey,
wa-
right?
Chris
We don't know
walked
his
it
journey.
back
We don't know
almost
what he was
immediately.
going through, what he's going through, even as he sat in that chair. And
Well, he
and
should
I,
stay home.
Right.
He's
Right.
going through
Bingo.
something while he's sitting there.
Bingo.
well, I
that
guess he
would
would
not
have stayed
allow him
home if he
to
thought.
his person. He should stay home.
Judge, I think he would have stayed home if he really thought that somebody was going to to offend his wife and put him in the position that he was in. Well, maybe not. He was going there to get the best actor award for an
I
Oscar.
think you give him too much credit. I think you're
much
trying
credit.
to find a reason.
Yeah,
to,
I mean,
I think
he's
y'all
heard
don't want to
worse,
give him
Carl.
any credit
Well,
at all, and I get that. Listen, Will Smith not only disrespected Chris, but the Williams family. It took away from a man that made his daughter's queen of tennis that was completely overlooked. Do you think he disrespected the Williams sisters as well?
absolutely. They were the ones that should be doing those tours this week. All the people that won the Oscars, best actor, best actress, best film, all of that, all those people should have been making the rounds on the talk shows this week. But instead, everybody is talking about what Will did. He stole that moment for everyone that night. And that's why I think the punishment from the Academy ought to be very, very stiff.
Which is a very interesting comment, Judge Brown, because here's a comment that says, Judge Brown, if the charge of assault is pressed by Chris and is moved forward to you in your court, what would be your position? Well, obviously you would hear impartially the evidence.
I don't get to do that. I don't have to decide about crimes, so to speak. But I just don't think there's a defense to it. Just as a lawyer, there's no defense.
Right. Hypothetically, this case and these facts, these circumstances are in your court. Prosecutor recommends time to serve in jail.
So if I'm defending Will Smith, I'm going to argue that it's going to be a reduced assault because of an extreme emotional disturbance.
Right.
I don't know how I'm going to prove the extreme emotional disturbance, but I'm certainly going to be looking for clues to show that Will was under some kind of extreme emotional disturbance to get his assault. It would be an assault 4, by the way, because it's not felony assault, at least in Kentucky. I don't know in California.
Yeah,
but
I might would agree with Mr. Mullins if he issued a public apology and didn't blame the victim, because even though he apologized, he said Chris made me do it though.
Yeah,
Chris made me.
Right.
I mean, it's
and
just,
I didn't like
just
that.
keeps stepping in more mess.
Yeah,
He
he
should have
definitely needs some
apologized.
counseling
He
saying
should have
that.
apologized when he gave that speech
Yeah,
because I
he
thought he had the
definitely
perfect
needs some
opportunity
counseling
to clean it up.
by blaming the victim. Here's another one. Oh, hey, Leslie Summers. I see you speaking to me. Will Smith had heckled many in the audience from the stage. Y'all saw it? Did y'all
That
see
night,
that? I don't
that
remember
night,
that. Maybe
Will
that's the
Smith.
part we
I don't know.
missed.
Maybe they have. But I kind of think that kind of comes with the Oscars. That's why they give those folks, you know, they used to just kind of sit in rows. Now all of your people that get the large individual, the important individual awards, they get to sit in a special area, right?
Like
So they don't
really,
have to
really
walk
close to the
far.
stage. I
They're
think they,
really close to the
you know,
stage. So he
yeah,
could have been heckling people. I don't know.
yeah. Actually, I think they set them close to the stage because they're only going to broadcast it for an hour, and unfortunately, it's live. But listen, here's another comment. Do mental illnesses get a pass, or is overlooked by those on high? To include Will Smith and the Antonio Brown meltdown as a professional football player.
I don't think they get a pass, but I think it's something to consider. Now, he hasn't acknowledged having any kind of mental health
He will when he gets
concerns.
sued for $100 million.
Yeah, we just think he's
He
crazy.
might at that point, but I'm saying he's never acknowledged that as an issue. So I think, you know, people are speculating that there was something more going on under the surface. Like, why else would somebody who seems to be a reasonable minded person react in that way? But I don't think they get a pass, but I think it is something that you can consider in meting out, you know, any kind of consequence. That, you know, maybe
and
that's a part of what they say, that he gets an evaluation, that he gets treatment. I mean, but that would mean he'd have to acknowledge that he thinks he has an issue. And I don't know.
Yeah,
He
but
would do that. I don't know if Jada gonna let him say that. I don't know if Jada gonna let him
Ain't that a
say
shame
that
that Jada gonna
as
let
an issue.
him, because that's what got him in trouble. What Jada's gonna let him do or make him do or tell him to do, he's got to meet her approval.
Yeah.
And if you're
Here's
gonna let
another
Chris
question,
Rock talk
though.
about me on stage, you don't meet my approval. You ain't a man. I'm going back to August, the little young rapper.
No, come on, no, don't do that. No, come on. That will be. Listen, I mean, that's probably why he was all worked up the night.
Right,
Listen,
that's what I'm telling.
was
That
this
is the
rapper?
motive.
How young
That's
was
the
August?
motivation.
he
August is the
apparently
boyfriend that she had, and I'm telling you, that's the motivation for
no.
Will.
It was
She had the boyfriend. It was August. His name was August. He was a
yeah. I
young
think it was
rapper.
her son's friend.
Right.
So he's
That's
like
the
her
motivation.
son's age?
Yeah, probably.
Yes.
But
She's-
listen,
she's-
here's another question. Let me get this
she's an old
question in.
cougar.
It says here's a question for you, Mr. Price. Was there a crime committed? Yes or no? Would you prosecute? And my answer to that question is yes, there was a crime committed. Clearly, everybody in the world saw that. And yes, if I'm taking oath to uphold the law and enforce the law, I would have to prosecute him. Now, if I prosecuted him, I would also, because this is one of my missions in my campaign, right? I would also make sure that I'm not dealing with anybody with a mental illness, and that I'm not so focused on his act that I may miss this opportunity to catch an undiagnosed a mental illness. Not that I'm trying to diagnose it. I would hope that medical professionals too, that we get him the opportunity to get to that person. And I don't know Will Smith's journey, so it's hard for me to say that it wasn't justified, because I mean, and I'm just going to leave it at that. Because I don't know his journey. I don't know what was on his brain when he got there.
He's saying that he's not going to call it before he sees a case, but realistically, Carl, he didn't have no mental illness. He was just mad. He was just mad. He was probably drunk.
Mental illness in the sense of individuals who have an undiagnosed condition is very different from a person who cannot manage their anger.
Right. And I agree that we're dealing with somebody.
Look, I don't even think Will was angry, because you don't go from laughing
I think
to
he
being
was
angry
angry.
just because you don't go from laughing to being angry. Just let me finish my point. You don't go from angry. You don't go from laughter to being angry just because you looked over at your wife. He was motivated to do what she wanted him to do. Period. Don't give me this. He was angry. If she was laughing, he'd have been laughing. He wouldn't have been mad. He looked over at her. She's like, oh, she's upset. Okay, well, let me go do something. I'll slap him. If he was mad, he'd have tackled Chris, beat him, curb stomped him on the ground like people do out of anger. He walked up and slapped him like a gentleman, like, I think I need to do this to make a point. That's the way I see it. I could be wrong, but that's the way I see it. He wasn't
was
angry. It was a
it came
controlled
out of a
response.
movie.
Here's my next
Yeah.
question to you all. In our society today,
Doesn't get
we
funny.
remember Def Comedy Jam, et cetera, et cetera. Do comedians get a pass just to say anything? No matter how
And they're
offensive
in
it may
there-
be
when
to
they're on
people,
that
just because
stage,
they're a
yeah.
comedian?
Correct. Yeah.
When they're
If
on
you-
the
if I-
stage being a comedian, yeah. Because
Yeah,
people
if
know
I-
that when you go to the show, you come in late, they probably gonna heckle you. You in there
if I
in
go
an
into a-
odd looking outfit, they probably gonna talk about you.
Yeah.
If I'm
See,
Michael
well-
Jackson and I go to a Chris Tucker show, I can't get offended if Chris Tucker imitates me on stage because that's what he does. Stay home, Michael Jackson.
Right.
Remember,
but
he used
Paul,
to imitate Michael Jackson all the time.
Right. So let me give you all a different analogy. Let's say, well, first of all, let me give you this backdrop that you probably already know about the Oscars. The Oscars happen once a year. It's one of Hollywood's biggest parties. Celebrities go out, or the attendees go out, and they spend a lot of money. And we may say they're wealthy, so that doesn't matter. But they spend a lot of money. They focus a lot on the fact that they want to be there, and they want some camera to click them, and they want to be on the top. They may not want to, but if they end up on the front of People magazine or Vanity Fair saying, wow, did you see the dress that she had on? So Jada Pinkett did not go to the Oscars to be reminded that she may not be that attractive or that she looks like a GI. Okay.
That's not what he
So-
said, though, Carl.
Say that
And I
again.
don't know what
He didn't say she wasn't attractive. He just commented that.
I know,
G.I.
but the
Jane.
implication, I mean, when we were kids, Paul, we played with GIs, Joes, right? So when they say
but there's a movie
right,
called
G.I. Jane, I
where
understand.
that person was
And it was
in
very
a
much
position
a
of great
women's
respect,
empowerment.
not
It was
disrespect.
a women's empowerment movie.
I know,
So
but
there's
my
nothing
point,
offensive
right,
about it.
right,
She could have wore a wig.
right, but she has that.
If
Listen,
she wanted to. She
my
don't have
point is
to.
this. My point is this: is that she didn't think she was G.I. Jane. Okay, so she came out, and I can understand her being offended, and almost to an extent, I don't approve of Will Smith's behavior, but I think I understand his reaction. And I think any man that loves his wife, I'm with Tiffany Haddish, right? Any man that loves his wife would have had some type of reaction. Would it justify that type of reaction? I don't know. You know what Tiffany Haddish said? Tiffany Haddish said, for so long, we've been attacked and nobody's done anything about it. I love the fact that I saw that man standing up for a woman.
I take no advice from Tiffany Haddish. Not one bit.
Okay. Listen, let me
Not
take
one.
this to another area. I wanna show y'all this, and then we're gonna take this just to another area, and then I want y'all's comments on this. Whoopi Goldberg.
I want to ask people why you think he would have indulged in a brawl on a stage in front of 3 billion people. Why wouldn't he be the adult? I keep hearing that, and people keep saying people are going to, think of black people the wrong way. Well, let me tell you, they should be looking at us saying, oh, okay, because he didn't indulge. There's nothing wrong with what he did. So there's no reason for anybody to have any issue with black people. You have an issue with Will Smith and what he did.
Yeah.
He doesn't represent every black person on the planet.
Exactly.
Stop doing that. And assume that the right thing was done because the man knows how to act in public.
Mm-hmm. Chris Rock.
Chris Rock.
Yeah.
So apparently there was some small
I want
talk
to ask
that
people why you think
I'm sorry.
he would
Apparently
have
there was
indulged
some.
in a
let me
brawl.
stop, Whoopi. We're done with you. Apparently there was some talk that there were social media comments that wow, let those black guys in the Oscar and they bring violence, and that's what Whoopi's responding to. Your thoughts?
I don't feel like anybody has to be accountable for Will Smith's intentional conduct. I don't feel like I have to own it at all. I don't feel like it was a mark on people of color because he was intentional. He did it. Nobody else did it. He did it.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, so here's another comment. Jada is the family alpha dog. Will is a scorned man broken by a headstrong woman that allows strangers to invite to an invite into their open relationship. The Obamas would never open their family up to such, to include their daughters Sasha and Malaya. I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm gonna quit reading y'all's comments, and I will not show them if they're not grammatically correct. I mean, it's just anyway. Alvin, you know what I'm talking about. But I do believe that a lot of us ought to put the brakes on, take a step back, and make sure that we fully understand Will Smith's journey.
Yeah, we can do that as we pray for him. We can do that. Okay,
I mean,
but Will
Carl, at the end of the
Smith needs
day,
to understand everybody else's journey.
Right.
Connect to love had to be the answer. I don't believe.
World. Will Smith traumatized the whole world in one act. People around the world woke up sick the next morning for having to watch. Like when you showed it tonight, that was the first time I had seen it since I saw it live, because I just could not. Every time I would see it in my feed,
right.
Speaking of, I didn't want to see it again.
I'm sorry. Speaking
Carl,
of making
I think
a comment about somebody with the bald head, check this out.
Like he has a rule. The bass player, he got a rule. He got to wax his head every morning. That's a rule. He follows the rules, man. He follows the rules. Oh, these are jokes. Come on. See, you got too into the kid.
How about that? This is a joke.
That's a little different.
Talking about somebody's bald head. This is a joke. What'd you say, Paul?
I said that's different because in this situation, it's different from the scenario that we're doing because he's talking directly about somebody. He probably had a little interaction with him before, and that's one-on-one. He's not talking about that bald head man's wife, which would elicit a different emotion. So I think people are torn between defending your wife's honor. Like if this same incident happened in 1801, I'm certain that people would think that Will Smith was 100% justified for defending the honor of his wife. We have thankfully progressed to where people are supposed to be in control of their actions, at least publicly, and not do these things. And I think people are torn between the old Southern, chivalrous moment of defending your wife's honor. But if we look into the Smith family, she's already messed up her honor. And I'm not sure that I agree with him going on the attack for her when he initially laughed. That's the biggest problem that I have. If Will was upset from the first part and stood up, it was like, hey, man, you out of line. And then he did it. I'd be on board with you about his emotional response. He laughed hard. He thought it was funny. He looked over at her. She didn't think it was funny. Then he reacts. That's kind of lame to me. I can't get past that.
And you really believe that is significant, right?
I do. Because you was laughing with everybody else. It was your wife who thought she was offended. Should she have been offended? We can even have that debate. You got a bald head. You shaved it. You wear it proudly. You tell everybody, I did this for a reason, and I'm proud of it. And then when somebody makes a slight joke, a soft joke about it, you're suddenly offended. You just cantankerous. You just old, and you ain't getting what you want out of your relationship, and you just want to make your husband do what you want because you feel like you can do that. And that's sad for Will. Will's a mega star, and she could be dragging him down. I don't know. But if that's her reaction.
Mr. Mullins, I'm going to take calling her old because I think I'm older than her. So I'll be over there tomorrow to slap you.
What?
That's a joke, y'all. But I'm just saying. See, you offended
me.
Did
I use the word? I didn't mean the word. Okay, I meant
you said
like
old.
I didn't mean old as an old lady. I just meant like they've been married too long.
Like old, like what? As in what? Old as in what?
Married too long. I guess that don't help me either. Dang.
Right.
Let me just backtrack before I get slapped like Chris. I still
But you
think
see,
what
you
I
see how ridiculous that sounds, though, right? I'm offended, so I'm gonna put my hands on you.
right, but they
That's
doing it
just
on the radio all the time. I heard somebody on the radio say, "I'm gonna slap you like Chris Rock." I mean, it's a meme. I'm telling you, it's
oh
not
yeah.
funny, but it's funny.
No, the meme is funny. The meme is funny, okay? Because you know he out Kanye. And now we
Kanye
Will
got
Smith.
banned for he got banned for less. He got banned for
I'm
less.
just saying, you know, before these kinds of events, everybody had to watch out for Kanye. You know, because if he's in the audience, he might jump up there and try to take your award, or he might stand up and say something ridiculous. Will Smith out Kanye. Now it's, you know, you got to watch out and make sure that somebody don't come there and Will Smith you. And I mean, you know, and that provides serious liability for any of those large platform events, because they're responsible for making sure that their guests are secure.
For me, I just couldn't.
Carl, I have a question for you, Carl.
Hey, go ahead. I'm listening.
So you know the Oscars was produced this year by a black man, and considering what we saw, have we just turned the Oscars into the Source Awards?
No, listen, I first of all, I'm not sure if that's factual what you just said. I know that there's a black man that's over the Grammys.
It was that produced it. Yes, it was.
Oh, so it was a black man. I think the CEO of the Grammy Awards is a black man, but
not the CEO, but that produced the show this year.
Well, I think that's probably
Will Packer, wasn't it? Will Packer. That's his name.
Mm-hmm. I think, Paul, to answer your question, I think that's probably why we have a situation where when you listen to what Whoopi Goldberg said. No, listen, man, I don't think it's the Source Awards. I'm assuming that you're saying that because there was violence at the Source Awards.
Yes.
Source Awards. I don't think I've ever watched those. Probably because I'm old, though.
Oh wow, I'm gonna hear this one for a while. Sorry.
The only thing I can tell y'all about that is that I obviously you have people with neophyte eyes, and the only thing they see are two black men engaging in violence on a worldwide stage.
Black man.
But no, I don't akin it to the Source Awards. The only thing I would say is that I really am tied to this idea that before I pass judgment on Will Smith, I want to really understand his journey. Because I think all the comments that I've heard seem to suggest that he was just intentionally a bastard. And I'm not sure if I'm willing to go that far. I don't condone what he did, but I don't know his journey. And I think that's important.
Okay.
I mean, what do y'all think?
I think his journey is not very long.
You're right. It was a very short journey.
Yeah,
and I think
from his chair
if you
to the
put your
stage.
hands on somebody else, then you're gonna have to suffer the consequences. And
This
we
journey-
can say, okay, maybe we can forgive. Maybe, I don't know. If Chris Rock can forgive him, then I guess that's okay. But I don't know. I'm not saying that he needs to be canceled or anything like that, but he needs to be accountable for what he did.
No, I agree. I totally agree. I'm actually over here looking for this.
I'm
I found
thinking
it.
they need to do a Bad Boys 4 and put Chris Rock in the movie.
And I wanted y'all to see this because I thought
Chris Rock the villain.
He gets to slap Will.
Well, anyway,
I'm
I wanted
sorry,
to show y'all this because this was something that I thought it was the best thing that I've seen on the internet about it, and I can't find it now. But it is. Come on back over here.
If you go out on the internet and you look at what other comedians are saying about Will Smith, they are doing 10 times worse than what Chris Rock did. They're talking about him and his wife, and they're basically like, I dare you do something to me.
And y'all just don't see this as a man just loving his wife so much that
No.
I see it as a man protecting his wife's honor, but on the wrong stage, literally. If Chris Rock had said that face to face and they were one-on-one, he might have that reaction. I still wouldn't expect him to use violence. But like I said, don't they normally just issue press releases and demand public apologies and cancel people? You know, that's
I
what
think
they
you just
that's
got to
what they
keep it
normally do.
simple. Got to keep it simple. You had a guest at your house who attacked one of your other guests. And, you know, you can't, you know, the owner of the house can't let that stand. They have to do something about it. And it doesn't matter what his motivation was. And if we needed to take into account that he had some kind of a deficit, then maybe all the guests should have known. You know, he ain't all together here. He might hit you. But no, we can't put those kind of things out there about people. I mean, I think he's just expected to act with a certain amount of decorum and a certain respect for the dignity of other people. And the fact that he can't do that is not anybody else's problem but his own.
I mean, would he have done that if Denzel? I mean, not that Denzel would say something like that.
Wow.
I still think it's personal to Chris Rock for some reason, because I just can think of a whole bunch of other people. He wouldn't have done that. He wouldn't have done that to Robert De Niro or some super mega star, you know, above his pay grade, I guess. He wouldn't have done that because he would have had too much
Yeah, I think
to
there's
lose.
something to that. I think there's something to that, Paul. I really think there is. I agree with you on that. There are certain people that he would not even have considered. To Chris, and that's a problem. But all of those memes and stuff that have him hitting women and everybody else, now that's offensive, because that's not what it was at all. That's not funny. It's not funny. And I say that
Denise,
as a
come on now.
person
Listen,
who hears
Denise.
other people talk about how someone gets offended, and the next thing you know, somebody's getting battered. It's not funny.
Turn it off, Carl. Don't turn it on.
You said what?
I hadn't seen that, man. It's the memes are outrageous. But again, stop.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Oh. So now, now people are glorifying it. I mean, I know, that happens anytime anything happens of any note on, in our society, then you'll get all kinds of memes and things about it. But I don't think they should glorify what he did. And really, I just can't. I'm seriously, tonight was the first time I had seen it, other than the night that it happened. And I've intentionally bypassed it because it is a traumatizing event to see him walk up to that person and hit him like he did.
You're 100% correct. But the memes probably they're going to be around for a while. People are people are. It's like when you were in a high school. You knew.
Go ahead, Paul.
The lady just said she was offended. You won't keep playing that.
No, I don't know what that is. That's not me.
Okay. So it's like when we were in high school. You know that people fighting isn't right, and you know that people shouldn't be fighting. You know, sometimes people jump in and break it up, but everybody's still gathered around to watch it. It's just a sickness of human behavior.
Yeah. People do that, but we didn't have a choice this time. We didn't have a choice. Everybody was captive audience, sitting there watching the awards. I hope not too many kids were watching the awards, but probably some were. Right. And they had to see that. And that was terrible.
It was. But here's the last thing I want to show. I really wanted to pick one. I wanted to show y'all one that would be a little bit more fulfilling to probably half the people in this country. But I want to show y'all this one.
Richard.
Why is that better?
Because he hit him back.
It's still violence. It's still violence.
It's a little bit more violence, right? But he hit him back.
It's violence.
But he hit him back.
That's the whole point of it. That was your question.
Right, absolutely.
Was it violent or was he justified? It's all violence.
It's all violence, yeah. Well, again, I'm not going to show the clip that I showed earlier because I tell you, when you see, for me, the post slap just left me with a very, very weird feeling. Like he's just like Chris Rock was like, wow. If we were in the streets, I would do something about that. If we were somewhere else, I would hit you back. You know, it was almost like
if
that.
If they were in the streets, he might not even got close to Chris Rock. He might not even done
maybe
that.
not. But my point is,
I mean, he
that,
took advantage. Chris Rock was on stage. He took advantage of the fact that he knew Chris Rock couldn't even. He didn't have no defense to even stop him from coming to the stage. He knew Chris Rock wasn't going to do anything and cause a brawl. That's punk, man. That's
right.
a punk move.
Exactly.
Well, that's.
Anyway. Not use that word either.
Anyway,
well, okay, sorry, but
anyway, we've had fun tonight. I appreciate you all's insight on this. I do believe that. You say that again, Judge.
Say that again.
I'm saying Mr. Mullins is right. He knew. I believe that he knew that Chris Rock would not hit him back.
So if Chris Rock was not
further, I think he believed that Chris would not escalate that.
So if Chris Rock was the Rock, we wouldn't have seen what we saw, right? Is that what you all were saying
from the beginning? And if it was Chris Rock's own comedy show, Chris Rock would have security. Will Smith would have never made it to the stage.
Well, I mean, that's the basis for the lawsuit, right? Inadequate security.
Who's suing?
Yeah, and the lawsuit against Will Smith.
I don't believe comedians get a pass. I really don't. I just don't. I know y'all said that earlier.
You ever heard of the First Amendment, free speech?
You said what?
You ever heard of the First Amendment and free speech? Why don't they get a pass?
Right, but you've heard of the exception of the First Amendment, free speech guarantees, right? You just can't go into an auditorium and yell fire.
He's not yelling fire. He's telling a joke.
He didn't yell fire.
Okay.
This ain't.
I'm not gonna listen. I ain't gonna touch that.
If I talk about somebody's wife and say she got bald hair, I'm yelling fire. You really want to find a defense from there's no defense.
The only thing I'm going to tell you is this: is that somebody said that it was a joke. You know, I saw that post in the internet. Willie Aiken up in Jersey. I saw that this was really a joke, that this was staged, and this really didn't happen. But those are the QAnon folks. All right. So in any case, you said what?
He needs a good lawyer.
Chris.
Oh, Chris.
It's Will.
Will.
He needs a good lawyer. Yeah.
Well, do y'all think he should have pressed charges?
That's on Chris. Chris might not feel like
it's his choice to do that or not.
But I'm asking you all, do you all think he should have pressed charges?
I think it's his choice.
Just think it's his choice. Paul, what about you, Paul?
Try not to escalate the problem and make it bigger than what it already is, because he ain't gonna have to do anything. This guy is getting excoriated across the globe for what he did.
Yeah, I think if Chris wants to press charges or not, it's on him. But I mean, I can't say that I would. I mean, if you drew blood, if you made me want to punch you back, but you know, the slap. I mean, if that case came to court in district court today, they amended to harassment, give the guy a fine, maybe 1 day, and it's not something that they're going to put you in prison for. So why make it a bigger issue?
Well, you've never dealt with Carl Price as a prosecutor.
I hear you.
He'd have to spend a little time. Would be no probation on that.
Anyway,
the victim would not agree to that. I don't think Chris Rock would say, "Okay, yeah, let's call it harassment," and be done.
That's
with
what happened.
Right. Anyway, to your point of violence begetting violence, I want y'all to take a close look at this photo again. It looks like Chris was balling up his fist.
I need to close my eyes.
Look at that. No, it looks like he was balling up his fist. Look at Chris. Chris's.
I never noticed that.
Right on.
Afterwards, you're speculating.
He did ball his fist up.
You said it looked like he was balling up his fist.
What's fist? It does appear to be in a different position. but he had his hands behind his back. If y'all recall, when he was
When he
being
got slapped.
approached, his hands was behind his back or either to the
Right.
side, and he had the envelope in his hand, and he probably wasn't expecting this guy to hit him.
He should have
So y'all
talked to
can look-
him man to man. He had no right to assault him.
If Will Smith had walked up to the stage and simply said, "My wife," even if it would have been out of order, he could have said, "My wife has alopecia. She has a disease which caused her to be bald. Can you please apologize?" and walked off. That would have been a boss move right there, and nobody would have complained about it, even though it was out of
Well, hold
order.
up. That ain't even 100% fact. She's already showed pictures of the small, tiny little spot in the top of her head where the hair doesn't grow. The rest of the hair, she cut it off.
But
Her
that's
hair
on her.
grows on her. And
See,
so she-
but
she's
and that's,
already, she's
and
already
Carl,
put
it
all
goes
of that
back
out there. She's been
So,
wearing
and that goes
wigs for
back to-
years. And why you put that up? See? Yeah.
But look, it goes back to my point, Carl. It goes back to my point.
What is that, Paul?
That his wife is just old and okay. Sorry, Denise. I'm using the word to describe her not as her age, but as her mentality. Old crotchety woman who just wants to control her husband. You've seen those couples where they 80, 90 years old and the husband can't do nothing because the wife is controlling everything. That's what she wants to be. And if that's what he wants to be with, fine. But don't go fighting everybody just because she don't think stuff is funny. That ain't no way to live. Baby, it was funny. You know, I'm sorry that they laughing at your expense. I'll talk to them after the show, but we're not gonna make asses of ourselves on national TV just so you can be satisfied and think you got a real man at home. Because he is a real man. He's providing for everything that you got. He makes, I guess, more money than her. He's doing. Yeah, I mean, whatever. We know. I'm just trying to be politically correct. I don't know, but yes, we know. And it's like he's taking care of you, and you doing your thing, and he's still taking care of you. And you want to act like this? Act like he ain't a man if he don't go up there and punch that dude on the stage. I mean, she's just, ugh. I would look. I'll tell you what. When I was in college, I wanted to meet Jada Pinkett. We wanted all to meet her badly. We wanted her to come to UK, come to the Kappa House. We invited her there to come and speak with some poor. Yeah, we did. To come because at the time,
Did you say come to the Kappa House?
No,
Why would any woman go to the Kappa House, Paul?
Let me finish, y'all. I'm trying to clean this up. We sent a letter out.
You
to
need
her
to
because
clean this one up.
We sent a letter out to try to get her to come to UK and read poetry because she was into poetry at the time. She wasn't Jada Pinkett. She was just that girl on the TV show. And so everybody used to think that she was, the girl. But now, I mean, the way I see her now, I wouldn't want to be married to Jada Pinkett right now, making her husband jump when she points her finger and all that. That ain't no way to live. If he made his own conscious decision to defend his wife, I'd have 10 times more respect. But he laughed his butt off, just like everybody else did, which means he thought it was funny.
Well, he must be really in
offended.
love with this woman. And I'm gonna put this out there. I've always
Will
believed.
Smith, he can have any woman he wants.
Well, I mean, obviously he doesn't want any more women because this woman has slept with another man. Not only just another man,
but he slept with other
a
women.
friend of her son.
Y'all getting distracted.
Right.
You mean
No, I'm just saying that I'm just saying that Will, obviously somebody made this comment, so I'm going to repeat it. And that is that the man is screwed up in the head when he stays with a woman who has slept around the way she did.
Okay.
And then did not tell him until they were on her Facebook Live show.
Right. I think that, you can't really judge what people do in their own relationships. People take their vows and they live their married life as they see fit. Okay. I'm not going to get into that at all. If they had an open relationship, then they had one. That's what they did. That's why I'm saying you don't have to get into all that, y'all. If you stay focused on what actually happened, you could see that Will is just he wasn't in the right.
Right.
He wasn't in the right, no matter what was going on. I'm not saying that I would never say that she doesn't have honor because she slept with another man. Okay.
Right.
Because that wasn't the honor he was trying to protect at that time, right?
Right.
It wasn't a virtue he was trying to protect. It was like the joke about her appearance that he felt was too much. But it wasn't a virtue protecting. And that's why I think it's over the top. It was a joke
now that
about her appearance. It was not her virtue. And there's no way that you're going to be striking somebody else about a joke about their appearance.
Yeah, I
Okay?
think his striking. Go ahead, Paul. I'm gonna give you the last
I was
word.
just
that
gonna
we
say,
can-
Denise, now that you've said what you said about her alopecia, that totally changes it for me. Now there's no way he could have been offended, right? If her decision to shave her head for a little bald patch the size of maybe, let's say, a quarter or a silver dollar,
Wasn't
that was
even
her
that
choice.
big.
Well, okay, and if
Yeah,
it
but
was
it's
the
a
size of a quarter,
condition. It's a condition that she's sensitive about. It's just like women who are overweight. Women
how
who are
can she be
overweight are
sensitive
very
about it if she's
sensitive.
always talking about it?
Not all women who are overweight are sensitive about it.
No. But
Okay?
some are, Denise. I'm
Not
just
all
saying. Here's what
women.
I'm saying. I'm just saying
Yeah,
that some are.
but here's the proof that we have, Mr. Price. She had very recently posted a picture where she was discussing her condition, and she showed people exactly the small area of imperfection where it was like, but maybe the width of a quarter, not the round, not the circumference,
But is
the
that
width
free? But is that
of a
free
quarter.
reign to be
And that's
talked about?
that's her word. No, that's if
Is
you
that
say
free
you
reign
in
to be
any country,
belittled
it
because
is.
of
If you say
your
it doesn't
appearance?
matter.
Put it out there.
It is. She said it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me what anybody says about my bald head. That's exactly what she said.
She came to the Oscars.
You should have told Will that.
She
That it
came to
didn't
the
matter
Oscars.
what anybody said.
She came to the Oscars in her best, trying to look her best, and for somebody
She
to
did.
attack her best
He didn't
in that way,
take away from that. Y'all
I
gotta,
just think
I mean,
I
people
just
who
think her
believe that.
husband responded. He reacted. I don't condone the consequence of what he did. I don't condone what he actually did, but I do appreciate his reaction for his queen.
So you got a girl in your life that'll tell you to
Oh Lord.
attack like a dog? I mean, you wouldn't do that. You don't want a girl.
No. First of all, Paul, it should be a natural instinct to
But it was, and
defend
you're
what you
right.
consider to be yours.
You're right. It should be a natural instinct, but it wasn't. That's my whole point. It wasn't
Well,
his
how do you
natural
know?
instinct.
Why that? I think you're judging
We
him,
all
man,
saw
and
him
I don't
laugh.
think.
We all
I mean, I
saw
think you're judging his
Carl.
conduct
We are
because he was
judging
back
him.
there
We
smiling.
are judging him, Mr. Price. We are judging him. You asked us to come on here and give you our opinion.
Opinion, right? Y'all are judging him.
And
I
his
just
reaction
anyway.
we are
was
judging him.
his reaction was
Anyway,
he laughed. That's
it's
significant.
never right to create a joke at the expense of others. It's an international embarrassment. In this case, humility is real. Jada was humiliated in the moment.
She was not humiliated.
No, she was humiliated by her
I
husband
mean,
because her husband
he
laughed at the
laughed.
joke,
She laughed too.
and then it changed
You
to a
look at that
frown.
whole thing. She laughed too, and then when everybody was laughing at her, then she's like, "Oh, wait a minute, joke's on me."
Alopecia has different degrees. Her hair will fall out in clumps. And I remember that because when I had cancer and I scratched my hair and I had those dreads why are you shaking your head, Paul? Like this is see, you don't want to hear this?
I'm saying
I had a clump of
we are
hair in my
we are-
head.
No,
I
I
had
get your
alopecia
situation.
from the
I'm saying
from the
we are
cancer drugs.
overreacting to Jada's condition as though Will's action were justified based on condition. Yes,
Right.
Will could have responded, but not like that. That's at the end of the day.
No. He listen. I said
she wasn't dying. She wasn't dying in her cancer.
I said I'm okay with the reaction.
They can have hair replaced at any point.
Yeah, I said, listen, I don't think that, I think, again, I'm going to put this in perspective just one more time. You go to the Oscars one time a year. You go there to look your best. When somebody attacks your best, I don't think it's unreasonable to expect that somebody who loves them would react in a way that may shock you.
Well,
So your standards are pretty low
criminal
because I think
or non-criminal.
if you're in a room full of
You said
if
what,
you're in a room
Judge?
full of she thinks it's
I said
ridiculous.
I think that's ridiculous for a reasonable man to assume that he might get slapped at the Oscar.
Listen,
Yeah.
all I'm saying, I don't think it's unreasonable. I mean, I think you go out, you talk about another man. And I know he was a comedian on stage. You talk about another man's wife. I don't know if you're not. I don't know if you're not inciting a riot.
Carl,
the
if
reasonable
you
man
were in a
standard does
room
not
full of
apply.
Holocaust survivors and you say the Holocaust wasn't real, you might deserve to get slapped. And I might be like, well, that was a little too far. But this ain't that.
Anybody is game when it comes to comedy. The comment adds, comedians tell jokes, and she is not untouchable. Ooh, okay.
Bingo.
Right. If you want to run, you either run with the big dogs or you stay on the porch. That's
Right.
exactly
You didn't have to become a celebrity, Will Smith. Y'all didn't have to become celebrities and enjoy celebrity perks.
And I don't
To death do us part.
Extend it to Jada. See, I Jada didn't do it. Okay, I hear you though, Mr. Mullins, that she may have encouraged him to take his actions, but I'm saying he is an adult. He has his own free will. He made a decision to get up and do something that will continue to have repercussions in his life for a long time. And I think
what do y'all think about this?
The sooner he becomes accountable for it, the sooner that he acknowledges it as his mistake and his mistake only, not motivated by anybody else, then people will begin to say, okay, he finally said the right thing. But he is like digging his heels in.
Right. Here's a comment. Says, Will is a trained actor. I think there was a lot more going on than the Hi Jane joke.
Like what? What she mean?
Like Will was acting?
No, I think her point is that there was probably something that was built up. There was a lot more going on somewhere that would cause him to react in this way. Everybody somebody that all of us believe was just pretty much a pretty cool guy. Pretty cool.
But I disagree with that.
Except when he's acting.
It was over the top aggression and it was misplaced.
And Denise addressed this earlier.
All of that.
And she stated
Stop talking about
she
people.
said,
if you are a real comedian, you got the gift. You should be able to do it without offending any individual. Billy Crystal did it every time he hosted the Oscars.
Well, but they not
I agree
Billy
with you,
Crystal.
Kathy.
They not Billy Crystal.
Yeah, I
That
know.
was Billy
And Judge, the Oscars is not Def Comedy Jam.
I don't
So
think
you got
it's
to be
Def
careful
Comedy
coming
Jam
in there and
Joke.
getting under
If it was a
people's.
Def Comedy Jam Joke, it'd have been 10 times worse.
You said what?
But it has a history of barbs against
celebrities.
Pointed at the people who are up for nominations.
Listen, I'm gonna
a
keep it.
reasonable man would understand that. Okay, I got to get ready.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it. Yeah,
probably going to be the butt of a joke tonight.
I'm gonna
If
keep
you
it
have done
real.
anything in the past year, you go to the Oscars, you're nominated. You better go back and look at all your film for the past couple of years because they looking at it, the comedians, and they gonna come up with it. Because didn't one of the co-hosts talk about that open relationship? That didn't Regina, wasn't it Regina Hall that said something about Will, you on the list, but Jada said it was okay. You come on up here. When they call themselves inspecting the men, and she called those 5 men up to the stage, and she told Will that Jada had approved him being up here, and that was a joke about their open relationship, and they didn't take any offense to that.
Right.
but
And
I
so
don't-
maybe it is a
anyway,
build up, but they put themselves out there by telling all their business.
Right.
When
yeah.
you tell all your business and you're a celebrity, you giving people ammunition. So don't get mad at the people for using the ammunition you give to them.
Yes. Anyway,
No sympathy here, Carl.
you said what?
No sympathy for him here.
No sympathy
We
here.
have
Yeah, I don't. My take on
Will.
Will's, I appreciate his reaction. I'm not sure if I appreciate the consequence of his reaction. Because I don't think that is. I do not believe it's appropriate.
His reaction. What
You
do you
say that
mean you
again?
appreciate it?
I
What do you
He
appreciate
likes
his
the idea of a man
reaction.
taking up for a woman.
I
with
don't
some
necessarily
1800s.
appreciate how he carried that reaction out, but I appreciate his reaction. I appreciate a man saying to himself, not, basically, she's mine and I'm hers. Not like a possession, but and that's what. And Will made a good point, I think, when he was crying and stuff at the Oscars. He said, I'm in
That's
love.
acting.
Love makes you do crazy
Oh,
things.
Lord.
We all know that.
Yeah, no,
But
I ain't
come on,
gonna
Judge.
that.
Love makes you do crazy things. You find
You mean like
yourself
strangle your
sitting
partner?
in a sailboat in the middle of the Pacific
me
Ocean,
say-
and people are coming by saying,
let me
"What are you
say
doing here?"
this.
And he says, "I'm in love."
Let me just say this. I hear
Excuses.
a lot of people on my domestic violence docket talking about how in love they are, but they have just beat the hell out of their partner. And they are still talking about,
Love
I
make you do
love
crazy
you.
things.
And I want to come back. Okay. His behavior was very indicative of that pattern of violence. And that is scary for us to be looking at that and thinking that you did anything right.
I'm listening to you.
No, you wasn't.
No, that was too much. It's too much like the stuff that you hear every day where people literally get killed because other people love them to death.
Would Chris Rock be wrong?
With the violence for what it was. It was violence.
Would Chris Rock be wrong as a grown man to smack him back?
In the moment, it would have been self-defense.
Self-defense?
Now,
no
days
sympathy
later,
for either of them.
Problem.
Wrong is wrong, and they both were wrong, and can't no right come out of two wrongs. I agree.
No,
both
I don't
wrong.
agree with that.
Both wrong.
Everybody is saying, "Hey, DJ Ice." Everybody's saying, "Listen to the judge." He could have gone on the stage and educated us about alopecia and say his wife's condition should not be joked about. Paul, that's your point.
Right.
He could have.
Yeah.
Exactly. There were so many things that he could have done, from heckling at his seat, cursing at his seat, whatever he felt like he wanted to do to get that out. But there's a long way from his seat to Chris Rock. And he took that walk and still thought the best thing he could do was to hit that man.
Yeah. Anyway, y'all, we have been going for a very long time. It seems like every time I invite Paul to the show, we go way too long over time. So he's yarning, and it's good to yarn when you're at home. But
I see he's got that newfangled headphones and the little, his little mic. Look at him. He coming up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it looks like he's in WHAS. Looks like he's on WHAS radio, don't he?
Yeah, I'm in my studio.
And everything.
Anyway, I will show y'all because I know y'all didn't want to get too much of it, but I will show y'all the last slap.
Oh Lord.
Wrong, man. It's wrong. But it's funny. I have to go to church.
Anyway, listen, I want to thank y'all for joining me.
Now that you've traumatized us, I can't even go to sleep tonight.
Oh, I'm not traumatized. I'm laughing. I'm going to go watch some more because they're funny. It's wrong. Look, I know it's wrong. It's like Chris Rock said. You know it's wrong.
I'm going to pray for you,
what was his joke?
Malone.
What his very first stand-up, he said, he said sometimes things are wrong. You just shouldn't do it. He said there's a reason to shake a woman, but you just don't do it. There's a reason to kick an old man down the steps. You just don't do it. He had a whole skit about that. And I just think it's funny.
I'm just going to pray for you tonight, Mr. Malone.
It's a reason to slap a man on the stage. You just don't do it.
Anyway, listen, I want to thank both of y'all for joining me tonight. It's been thoughtful. The room was full. Thank you, Valerie Bell. Valerie Bell says good show. The room was full. And I'm sure everybody got an earful. But I do believe that there are still two sides here. And to the extent that a man can get so emotionally entrenched into what is going on around him to cause him to react in anger, he needs to be checked out. And before we judge him, I truly believe that we probably ought to fully know his journey.
Bullshit.
Just my 2 cents.
Bullshit.
Well, Aiken said no.
Denise? Ms. Brown, did you
that was
sneeze?
intentional conduct on his part.
Why?
Hold
on, Denise. Hold on, Judge. Why are you rocking like Miss Seeley?
Yeah, because I'm like Miss Seeley. When she finally came back to herself, it was like, pass the potatoes. Yeah. It's exactly what it is. Because he's gonna have repercussions, and it ain't gonna have nothing to do with jail. But he has really besmirched his brand. It's gonna take a lot for him to recover. He done more than Mel Gibson did. I mean, there's been some people that have messed up their brand by the things that came out of their mouth. And this wasn't just something that came out of his mouth. This was something he did with his hands and the whole world saw it. He ain't gonna never be able to say it was anything other than what we saw, that he walked up and slapped the man because he got offended.
I'm gonna throw a bomb out here because I just want to know what people think. Do you think if he had slapped a white man on stage, it would have been worse? Just asking.
I think just slapping anybody was a problem. It was a problem.
I just want to know if the
Yeah, I think putting your hands on anybody is a problem. But I appreciate the reaction. If he had done that for his dog, I will be trying to get the LA County to arrest him. But since he did it for his wife, that's where I am. Anyway, Paul, what is she doing?
Because Carl, when you say he did it for his wife, so it's justified. It's just I hear. What
I didn't say it was justified. I just said I appreciate the reaction. Those are two different things. His conduct, his resulting conduct, and his reaction are two different things.
The defense of his wife is okay, just not the way he did it.
No, I think it's okay to to feel like you're defending your wife. That's what I think.
Let me ask you, when was the last time that you defended the honor of your date?
Of my what?
Any date.
A date. Any person that you took significant other.
A date is different from a wife. A wife is a wife. A date is a date. A date could be a wife.
You can avoid this question because you're not married. But you can appreciate
no.
Appreciate
the
response of the man who is married, but you're not married.
People who stand at that altar and take vows. Okay. If they're serious about it, they would have walked up on that stage like Will Smith if he felt like his wife had been violated. If they're serious about their vows. Now, I'm only talking about the reaction. I'm not talking about the conduct.
Yeah, I'm just not trying to give you a break for it either way.
They're two different things. Two different things. Anyway, I got to get out of here, y'all. It's been real. Thank you all for joining me. I just can't believe. Wow. I mean, I believe from the comment, wow, bullshiggity. Okay.
That's
a date
what I
is different from a wife. Thank you, Lucretia.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but if you're an honorable man, wouldn't you do it anyway, whether you're married to the woman or not?
I mean, in the 1800s, if you disrespected somebody's girlfriend, they'd kill you.
On you before you would respect her dignity? Get out of here.
Y'all talking about turn the other cheek. Every time we turn the other cheek, we got slapped like Chris Rock. Anyway, I'm gonna leave that alone.
If it's your girlfriend, you don't have to honor her dignity. Her dignity can be offended, but only if it's your wife, you should do something different. Oh, what a load of
right. Listen, I mean, all girlfriends and significant others who are not wives, you put on notice.
He's obviously kidding.
I'm gonna stop because now this is comedy, right? And we don't want anybody to take it serious. But all girlfriends, if you're not a wife, you're not gonna get the response of the Will Smith slap from that dude you're hanging out with. So get that ring. Make sure you do the Beyonce thing. Put a ring on it.
Then you get the slaps.
Yeah. You said what?
Well, I would have slapped him, but since we ain't married, I guess I had to talk to him.
I would have went up there and did him like Will Smith did Chris Rock, but we ain't married.
I'm gonna just talk to him later on.
Y'all gonna be the subject of memes tomorrow.
But we ain't married, and because we ain't married, I can't slap to this man.
I'm gonna have to talk to him now.
I've taken plenty of screenshots since we've been on the air, and I'm gonna put y'all in a meme. Come on.
No, listen, Denise. Really, think about this. Just think about it. Something happens, then y'all sit back. Then y'all, maybe it happens at the bar. You get your drink, you come back to the table, and she's looking at him like, and he's just like, "Well, baby, let me explain. Let me explain something to you. First of all, I would have done him like Will Smith did Chris Rock, but we ain't married. So it's kind of free game."
Because, 2 years from now, we might not even be together, and I would have to go fight somebody, and it
I can't have a whole world seeing me slap this man, and you ain't gonna even be with me. You're not even tied to me.
You somewhere else.
And the distinctions that we make in law, the major distinction in this case is that was his wife.
I feel like I'm on the show with two Mac Daddies.
He laughed until he saw the discomfort in his wife's face. Think now. Yeah, I mean, Anyway, y'all, we got to get out of here. Listen, everybody. Listen,
you got to sign off before you get in trouble.
Yeah, I'm going to sign off before I get in trouble because I know somebody's going to record this and download this and say, he said, no, the dude was trying to explain something. What he was trying to explain to his date was that we ain't married. Otherwise, I'd have slapped him just like Chris got slapped by Will, but we ain't married. So I want to explain that to you. That's speculation.
This is what I'm glad of. This is what I'm glad about. I'm glad that Mr. Price and Mr. Mullins are not the type of gentlemen who lose their faculties and sense of control of their person, and they're out in the streets fighting. That's not the kind of men that you all are, right?
We ain't married, so we ain't got no reason to slap.
I said no.
People.
I said single. I said single. Yeah, I mean just in general.
Now it's fair game. Right? Now it's fair game when all the cameras, all of the cameras transmitting all this to the world are off.
Oh Lord. Hang up.
Listen, that's enough. Listen, that's enough. Thank you for joining me tonight, Judge Brown. Thank you for joining me, Mr. Mullins. I've got to. I'm seriously have to log off of here. If this thing will let me. Anyway, this has been Conscious Fever. Tonight's discussion has been Chris Rock and Will Smith. I'm Carl Price. This is on Ice Entertainment Television, Conscious Fever Radio. Got to get out of here. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weekend. I'm looking away because there's something I have to hit to get us out of here. And if I don't hit it, we don't go anywhere. I do have a couple of commercials before we get out, and then we are gone. So have a wonderful week. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next week. And remember, register to vote by April 18th so you can vote in the primary for me. Peace out.
Safety, but they're there to contain us, to brutalize us and murder us, because they have their orders to do so. Police in our community.
Power to determine the destiny of our black community. 2, full employment program.
Order 3, may he to devise some kind of method or strategy to offset some of the events or
they had all the resources, and the FBI, the police, and they really meant to send me to the death chambers in order to make a point.
Oh, they know me. We find them in that town. If I'm really growing that town, and was I working with some white guy? There was really no middle class.
Please join me in inviting President Barack Obama and Kehinde Wiley to unveil the portrait. It's going. Never change.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price on 97thebeatfm.com.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long, long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. 'Cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Then I go to my brother. And I say, brother, help me please. But he wind up knocking back down on the knee. There've been times that I thought I couldn't last for long, but now I think I'm able, Father, to carry on. And it's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes it is. Yes it is. Yes it is.